And we are live.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to a May, what day is today? May, I'm completely blanking out. Anybody know what day it is?
13th.
May 13th. Thank you. Monday, May 13th. Welcome to our May Town Hall. This is the May Hall Town Hall is one of my favorites because it is when we recognize our senior class by having representatives of the senior class come on to the town hall with me. This is Tim Terranova, the proud superintendent of the Victor Central School District. And we have a variety of seniors who are going to talk about their experience going to school at Victor Central School District, but also ideas for the future, advice for undergraduates. And certainly at the end, they're going to give a shout out to an adult that's made a big difference in their life in Victor Central School. So we're really glad to have you here tonight. I'm going to start off. I'll kind of introduce you and then or introduce your name, and you can start off with the first question. How's that? We'll just kind of go around the group. So my first question for everybody is to talk about generally your senior year, basically what's gone well and what have been some challenges. And Diana, you want to start?
Yeah, sure. So I think this senior year I've been able to achieve a lot of my academic goals and also just goals in general. I felt really accomplished throughout the entire college applications process and being able to balance both school and completing all those essays that I had to write. But I will say it was challenging to have time for both and also balancing my social life and extracurricular activities on top of schoolwork and the college process.
Diana, how long have you been in Victor?
This is my third year in Victor.
Where were you before then?
In New Jersey.
Really? Where in Jersey?
It's called West Orange. It's close to New. Yeah.
Yeah. So you moved when you were a freshman or a sophomore?
My first year in Victor was a sophomore year, so yeah.
Was that a tough move when you're like 14 years old or whatever, trying to move to a different high school?
It was pretty tough, especially because it was the year
COVID.
But yeah, COVID, so that made it pretty difficult, but everything ended up working, so everything's great.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. Dasha, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Now, did I pronounce it? Did I pronounce that right, Dasha?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So talk about your senior year.
I would say this year has been really fun. Like Diana said, I also feel really accomplished. It's like a culmination of all the years I've spent at Victor all in one. And it's been great spending a lot of time with the rest of the senior class. The challenging thing for me would be also applying to college. I feel like it was a lot, especially writing all the essays. But now that I've been accepted to college, it's more relaxing.
That's awesome. Now, how long, Dasha, excuse me, how long have you been in Victor? Since you were little?
Since first grade.
First grade. Wow, that's a long time. That's awesome. Has your senior year been your favorite year so far, or did you like a different year?
Yeah, senior year for sure.
Excellent. Alicia, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great.
Tell us a little bit about the senior year.
My senior year, I feel, was, again, like Dasha said, kind of stressful with the college application process. I felt like it was a bit easier because I did the college camp beforehand, though. So I kind of got like my essay and stuff out of the way before school even started. Especially after getting accepted into my top school a couple weeks back. So honestly, been gliding after APs have been done. At least my APs are done. Good luck for everybody else. And it's just really relaxing. I get to chill out with like my favorite teachers and all my friends and stuff. So I really love senior year so far.
Tell a little bit about your history in Victor. How long you been here?
So I started school here. So I've been here since kindergarten.
Kindergarten. Wow. What's your favorite year so far?
Oh, for sure, senior year. Best year. Yep.
That's awesome. Thank you. And Leah, how are you today?
I'm good.
Excellent. Tell us a little bit about your senior year.
I think this year has been really good for me. I definitely challenged myself academically this year with some of the classes I was taking, but I think overall I was able to balance it pretty well. But I think at the beginning of the year, balancing the college applications, like the others had said, was kind of stressful trying to get those done on time, but then also having assignments that I was like trying to complete. But I think overall I was able to balance it pretty well.
And then tell us a little bit about your history of Victor.
I started here in pre-K.
Wow. So you were pre-K.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got pre-K, kindergarten, first grade, and sophomore year. That's pretty interesting. Thank you, Leah. We'll come back to you in a couple of minutes. Sean, how are you doing today?
Doing good. How are you?
Great. Talk to us a little bit about how it's going this year.
Been going pretty good. I've been able to balance, school and schoolwork and extracurricular activities pretty well. I would say agreeing with Lee at the beginning of the year was a little bit rough with, sports, other extracurricular activities. But, after that's been done, it's been smooth sailing so far.
What sports have you played
I played football from 7th grade to now.
to now? So that's the whole summer really, and then the fall. How
Yes,
long you
sir.
been with us at Victor?
I've been here since 3rd grade.
Third grade. Where were you
Yes, sir.
before then? Do you remember?
So I was in Puerto Rico before I moved here.
Wow. So did you move directly from Puerto Rico to Victor?
Yes, sir.
And do you remember that move?
I do. It was
That
a
had
big
to be
move.
challenging.
It definitely was.
Yeah, that's amazing though. So how many languages do you speak?
I speak fluent English and fluent Spanish, and I also on the Duolingo I try a little French, and that's what I took and throughout high school. So
That's amazing. That's two more languages than I speak. So that's awesome. Pyle, you're certainly not last. Oh, wait a minute. You are last, but not least. That's what I meant to say. How you doing?
Good. I'm good.
How's the senior year?
Yeah, so it's been really fun getting closer to a lot of seniors that I didn't know ahead of time. And then just like reaching those big academic goals that I didn't think I would. But challenging was definitely trying to juggle between a lot of schoolwork, college, and extracurriculars. But I think overall it's just a lot of fun, and now it's a little relaxing.
Great. And tell us a little bit about your history at Victor
I've been here since kindergarten.
kindergarten. That's great. Okay, I gotta ask you the same question. What's your favorite year so far?
I would probably say 12th grade, yeah. A lot of
12th
freedom
grade.
and
Most people like 12th grade. Is it a little, all right, here's a question for anybody. Is it a little nerve-wracking knowing that you're almost done with school and you're moving on to a different life? Or, I mean, how do you feel about that? Both nervous and, between nerves and excitement, anybody can go on.
I think I've been looking
Yes.
forward to senior year for a long time. Like obviously like anybody else. And I think it's like the finish line of like school, but it's also kind of sad because this is kind of like the last time we're doing all this stuff together with like the people I've grown up with my whole life. So that's about, yeah, kind of a little melancholic.
That's a good word too, Alicia. That's pretty good. Anybody else want to comment on that? Anybody really sad they're leaving?
I mean, I would say I'm pretty sad because leaving a lot of friends behind that are below the grade below me and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it's a lot of nervous feeling for going
Yeah.
on.
It's change. Change is hard sometimes. All right. Who wants to give some advice to underclassmen? Since you've been through the whole gamut, some of you have moved at a later age. Some of you have been here since you were extremely little. Who's got some advice? Like, what are some good things to tell maybe the freshmen, sophomores, especially as they move through the high school? Anybody can go.
I would say that my biggest advice to anyone in high school is to get really involved. I think like the reason I enjoyed like my junior and senior year so much is I was involved in a lot of clubs, a lot of sports, and it made it so much more enjoyable and like gave me things to do. And I kind of regret not doing that during freshman and sophomore year because it just made the last 2 years so much more fun.
What made you, Leah, get involved more?
Um, a couple of my friends were involved in student council, so that's how I got into student council. And then this year, I decided to do unified basketball with one of my friends, and I really regret not doing that sooner because it's been one of the best experiences. And then just some of the other clubs, I just decided to join for fun with a couple of my friends.
That's awesome. You're going to get it's senior night or senior day tomorrow and for the unified team. It's pretty
Yeah,
exciting. That's
yeah.
awesome. All right. So basically be involved in things, get involved, even if you don't, maybe you're not comfortable doing it at first. It gets you, it makes the year go faster and it's fun. Anybody else with advice for the younger kids?
I would say take it one day at a time, and like Leah said, get involved as much as you can, because after you're done with senior year, that's kind of it for your high school experience.
Yeah, I agree. Talk a little more. Actually, that's a good point. Sean, what do you mean by one day at a time, kind of?
So, not stressing over too many things, even though that it's good to push yourself academically and stuff like that. It's also good to, hang back, go to sporting events from school, attend clubs, and it's good to, just take 1 or 2 days just for yourself to recuperate and then go back on and study hard.
Good point. Anybody else with any advice?
Yeah, kind of building off of what Sean said, I think finding a balance between your academics and your social life is really important because you want the experience of going to sporting events and being in clubs, but also focusing on your academic goals and being a good student.
Excellent point, Diana. Anybody else?
I would say try to like build a relationship with teachers and get to know like be involved in your classes, because the teachers that like you talk to most will support you in throughout high school and maybe into college, and so it's good to have that kind of advice from adults that you know well.
So really like connect with the adults around you.
Mhm.
And a lot of times, if you start talking to them, they'll obviously start talking back to you and start building a positive relationship because they see a lot of kids, a lot of people. So, and it's a dedicated staff. Let's talk about mental health for a little bit. I try to do this as much as we can on these conversations, especially with this group, because you've been through it all. You were, let's see if I have this right. Eighth grade when COVID hit? So you missed the last 10 weeks of basically the last 10 weeks of your 8th grade year. Then you had to transfer over to the high school and you had to come to school every other day, I think, for most of the year, if not all the year. Then your sophomore year, you had a semi-normal year because it was your first year where you came to school every day, but everybody was still nervous about COVID and nobody really knew what they were doing because they'd been out of school for so long. So you've really kind of faced a transition to the high school in the middle of COVID. And now you're finally had a couple quote normal years behind you. I guess what I'm trying to ask is just how important is mental health and how have you been able to maintain your health through some tough times? Because not only do you have COVID, but you got life itself that can be tough. So anybody can talk. You don't have to if you don't want to, but anybody can say something.
I think that having found teachers that have like really supported me and like been able to build like connections with was really helpful in like more stressful times because they kind of understood from like a teacher perspective on like what students are going through, so I could kind of talk it through with them, and it was just really nice to have a supportive environment.
Yeah, it certainly helps when the adults care and they tell you they care and you build those relationships. Anybody else?
I think Oh, Dasha, you go first. No, wait.
Sorry. Connecting back to what we said earlier. Like when you get involved, you have things to look forward to. So like during those difficult times, you have something to look forward to. I think that's really important.
Yes.
I was
Alicia,
kind of gonna say around the same lines as Dasha. And also, like, high school is definitely a time to figure out things that you enjoy. So once you find those things you enjoy, you kind of give more value to your day-to-day life besides your academics and outside of that. So you shouldn't really stress too much about a grade and value that more than yourself and your happiness above else.
I definitely say that setting goals and planning ahead and helps you, like Dasha mentioned, looking forward to things, and it kind of gets your mind off like negative things and puts your mind into positive things.
great advice. I think you also have to, and I think each one of you has done it, is really just block out the noise, the negativity of society, whether it's people or whether it's social media. And you got to really like yourself. Ultimately, you got to love yourself. You got to understand that you're a great person, and that even if maybe a person doesn't hang out with you as much as you want, or you have a certain group of friends that you want to hang out with, and maybe I'm sure we've all gone through times where we've been kind of rejected and that kind of thing. Knowing that that's normal in life, and you get stronger from it, and you just be yourself. I think each one of you I know has done that, because you have your own personality or your own life. And I think that's really important, especially when you leave high school, just to be yourself and make sure that you understand and appreciate who you are, for who you are, because we're human beings. Everybody's different. So anybody want to add anything to that? All right. So what are we doing next year? And it's okay. There could be a lot of different things, but before we get into shout outs, just Diana, what are you up to next year? What are your plans?
So next year I'm going to be attending Johns Hopkins University, and I will be majoring in computer science and economics.
That's amazing. What made you choose Johns Hopkins? Because that's a great school in Baltimore, Maryland.
They have a really good computer science program, and it's been my dream school since I was a little kid. So I was extremely excited to see that I got in, and it was kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, what'd you feel like the day you found out you got accepted?
Oh, I felt awesome. I mean, all of my hard work for the last 4 years felt like it paid off, and it was just hitting a huge life goal.
Was it an email or did they call you?
No, it was just on my portal. I actually opened my portal late because I forgot that the decisions came out and I was still at school. So I opened it at school and started jumping up and down when I found out in the hallway.
That's awesome. That's a great accomplishment. Sean, what are you planning to do next year?
So I'm actually headed to the U.S. Air Force in the upcoming 2 months, actually. And the job that I got is security forces, which is Air Force's version of military police.
Wow. So, okay, same thing. What got you interested in that?
Man, so I mean, I have to think back to sophomore year and just talking to one of the recruiters, kind of got me hooked into, and I liked, Air Force's mission, like fly, fight, and win. And my end goal in my Air Force career would be, getting behind the cockpit of any type of aircraft and doing
Be a
that.
pilot.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. When do you leave?
I'm ship off July 9th.
July 9th. And where are you going for basic training?
Yeah, so basic training, the 7.5 weeks down in San Antonio, Texas.
Awesome. Thanks for your service or upcoming service. It's an amazing accomplishment, Sean.
Thank you for your
Alicia,
support.
did you just find out what you're doing?
Yeah, I checked my portal. They emailed me, and that's why I checked. Because some decisions were coming in late for my schools. I was a bit nervous myself. But when I saw it on the portal, it kind of didn't click that I got accepted into my school yet. So I went up to my mom and I was like, Mom, look at this. And she was the one that started screaming and jumping down instead of myself. But in the inside, I was really, really, really happy.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Marymount Manhattan College in Manhattan, New York for musical.
Manhattan.
Yeah.
I've heard of that. That's an amazing accomplishment. Where do you know where in Manhattan you're going to be?
Um, yeah, like 71st Street, 74th Street, somewhere around that area. That's where my
Upper,
house.
either the Upper West Side or the Upper East Side.
It's Upper East.
The Upper East Side.
Yeah.
Wow. How cool is that?
Really cool. I was really, really happy to be accepted.
And what are you interested in studying?
Well, I'm going for musical theater.
Okay. Yep. That's a great place to be for that in New York City.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
awesome, Alicia. Dasha, what are you up to?
I'm going to Binghamton University to study biochemistry on the pre-med track.
SUNY Binghamton is one of the best schools out there. We had kids I've told this story many times. We have kids that got into U of R that didn't get into Binghamton. Did you know that?
I did not.
What made you choose Binghamton?
It's close to home, but it's not like too close. Like
That's
there's still
true.
distance. And like I like the vibes of the school. So
How many schools did you visit?
a couple.
Yeah, a couple?
Yeah.
So yeah, your parents just can't drop in anytime they want. It's they got to give you a little bit of notice because they're about 3 hours away, right?
Yeah.
But you can get back when you need to.
Mhm.
That's awesome. And you sounds like you want to go into medicine, obviously.
Mhm.
That's a great field to go into. Thank you, Dasha. Pyle, what are you up to?
So I'm going to Northeastern through the honors program and I'm doing computer science.
Now, what is it about? First of all, that's in Boston, correct?
Mhm.
Boston, Massachusetts. What made you interested in computer science?
I have been doing computer, like anything with like technology since I was very little. And after joining so many activities that had technology, I just thought it was best that I continue my interest and do computer science.
That's great. What made you choose Northeastern?
So I really enjoy Boston and also Northeastern's experiential learning. So it was a very good combination of factors that led me there.
Great. Thanks, Pyle. Leah, I didn't forget about you.
I'm going to Damon University in Buffalo,
Yep.
and I'm in their 5-year direct entry PA program.
Wow. Damon has been one of the hot schools lately that I've been aware of. Lots of kids wanting to go there.
Yeah.
Lots of different great programs there. So would you say physician's assistant? Or what is
Yeah.
Well, it's a 5-year program.
Yes.
What got you interested in medicine and wanting to help people through medicine?
Well, I've just always been interested in the medical field, and like my sister, she got into PA school when I was in 6th grade, so that was when I first found out about like what a PA is and what they do. And from there I was just really interested in that career path.
Have any of the 6 of you been able to do an internship this spring? Because we just started it. Diana, you did?
Yes, I have an internship with Mrs. Fiorito.
Oh, wow. That's right. I think we talked about this at some point. Social
Yeah.
studies. She's an amazing teacher.
Yes, I agree. She's awesome. I love her so much.
And what are you doing there? What are you doing in her class? Like what do you help her with?
I basically just help her with grading stuff. Sometimes I organize some of her lesson plans and just or help prepare materials for projects and stuff.
Maybe you'll decide to go into teaching.
I actually really like it. I think it's been a good way to experiment with the field and see if I see myself doing that in the future.
That's awesome. Keep that in mind. All right, we're going to go reverse order for the last question, which is really important. A shout out to somebody from Victor who has made a huge impact on you and you're never going to forget. It could be somebody from the high school or it could be somebody from the earlier years of your experience at Victor. Whoever you want. We'll go reverse order, Leah. So I'm going to start with you. Is that okay?
The teacher I would shout out is Mrs. Stoutenberg. I had her for 2 years for 3 different classes. I took 2 electives with her, and it was all science classes, and the way she taught and the way that I was able to build, like, a really good connection with her made me realize that, like, science is, like, one of my favorite subjects and why I wanted to continue, with the direction of PA school.
Wow. Well, you can't, I mean, how amazing is that? How awesome a tribute is that, Leah? You're going to do great. And, again, Damon, you're going to Damon, right? Damon's in an outstanding college, and I think you're going to really enjoy it there. Pyle, I know you're going to Boston. Who you want to give a shout out to?
My shout out will be to Mr. Weist. I've had him for the past 3 years, and he's taught me so many skills for my interests and life lessons, and also he's guided me through my college journey. So he's been really helpful to me.
Is he a big fan of Northeastern?
He really was happy for me.
I bet you he was, yeah. So, and he's does a great job with all the computer courses and the computer programming and
Yes.
some of the all the different courses he and the teachers teach, and getting kids interested in. And the other thing he does is he makes real life connections to it, which I think probably
Yes,
saw
definitely.
that. So yeah, he's a great example of a great teacher. Dasha, I know you're going to Binghamton. Who's a shout out you want to give to?
I would shout out Mrs. Knapp. So she's always ready to help with calculus, and she's always also helpful. She always makes someone smile. Like she's always ready to crack a joke anytime.
She makes calculus fun. Did you say? Like that's a great tribute, isn't it? Have you had her for more than 1 year, or did you have her for 1 year? This year. So she made quite an impression on you to have her for 1 year, your senior year. That's awesome, Dasha. You're going to do great things in Binghamton. Alicia, who do you want to give a shout out to?
I want to give my shout out to Mr. Merritt, actually, my pre-calc teacher. Love him down. He's like one of my biggest support systems at school during my whole senior year. And he's always like giving a great smile to like everybody in his class. And it's always a great vibe every time you go into his classroom. You can just relax and de-stress a little bit. And he helps a lot. So I really appreciate him.
When did you have Mr. Merritt? This year or last year?
This year.
This year. Awesome. I know he will appreciate that shout out that you gave him. So thanks for doing that, Alicia. Sean.
I'll give my shout out to Mrs. Schluter. She's the 10th grade world teacher. And so I had her for 1 year, and just that 1 year, she made a huge inspiration into me. She always really got down to like a student's level and the perspective, always taking the time to understand each student. And that just kind of stuck with me. And she's been a really big, or probably the biggest supporter of my future military journey. So she's definitely going to be one to remember for me.
That's awesome. Thanks, Sean. And again, stay safe and thank you for your service. It's going to be an amazing experience you go through.
Thank you for support.
Diana, who do you want to give a shout out to?
I want to shout out Mrs. Thompson. Without having taken her class, I would have never discovered how much I actually enjoy economics, and then I wouldn't want to pursue a career in it. So I have her to thank for that.
When did you have Mrs. Thompson? Did you have her this year in economics?
Yeah, I had her for AP economics this year.
That's fantastic. Thank you. All right. Well, I just want to thank you for spending some time with me. It's huge of you to do that. I know that you have a ton going on. You probably have the most exciting part of your senior year coming up in the next 5 weeks. And so just enjoy it. Stay safe. And again, this is going to be on Facebook Live. And I couldn't think of 6 better examples of the class of 2024 for people to be able to listen to and watch. And I know that as you go forth in your life, whatever you end up doing, you're going to do great stuff. And don't worry if you change your mind and switch careers, and don't worry if you change things up. And sometimes you hit rough times, because that's normal. That's what life's all about. But you're ready for it, whatever life throws at you. So thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. And can't wait to see you across the campus, and certainly at graduation in a few weeks at Frontier Field. Okay. Have a great evening.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
you.